Good day everyone, welcome to Wysol's Wisdom. My name is Nathan and today I'm going to talk about my experience with quitting cannabis. So over the last 10 plus years I have been a user of cannabis, and over the last 30 days I have managed to stop smoking it. I'm just going to talk about my experience with it and without it, because there are some points in my life where I actually tried to quit and it didn't work out, and seemingly for a reason. So I'll talk about that, kind of the positives and negatives of cannabis as well, and then my experience of quitting cannabis over the last 30 days. Pretty sure today has been 30 days. I honestly haven't counted. Should have, but it's been roughly 30 days now. So, quitting cannabis. Now, excuse if there's any wind. Again, I'm outside, so there might be a little bit of wind in the video, okay? So firstly, I'm going to start by talking about the times where I've tried to quit and it seemingly didn't work out for me. I didn't quit for a few reasons, actually. So the first time I tried to kind of stop smoking was, well, actually I kind of did. I did take kind of a year break. So I did start smoking at the age of my late 14. So like the end of, I can't remember what year that was, but I was pretty sure it was 14, 15, turning 15. That's when I started smoking cannabis. That was just kind of really random. I just got past it. It was like, oh yeah, do you want some? I was like, okay, yeah, might as well. So then yeah, I started smoking it, and then from there it kind of was a average thing. It would happen every time I'd come into contact with a certain group of people. I'd smoke it, just kind of a social thing, and then it started kind of getting regular, quite literally every week. Me and a couple mates at school, at my school we had a thing on a Wednesday. It was like short course or something, where we would kind of finish early from school, but we'd do an activity that was different to school on a Wednesday. But we would finish early and we would call it Weed Wednesdays. Me and two mates would chip in to get some weed on a Wednesday, and we would smoke weed on a Wednesday. We didn't even know how to roll properly, honestly. We would make something called a 3-skin very incorrectly. We would make L's incorrectly. If you don't know what they are, they're just type of Rizzlers that you put together if you don't have a long skin, which is what you typically would smoke weed in. But yeah, every Wednesday we would get weed and smoke up, pretty much. And that transitioned to kind of me smoking. So that was when I was 15. Pretty sure that was when I was 15. And that transitioned to me smoking way more regularly at the age of 16. Even during school, me and 1, 2, sometimes 3 mates would sneak out during school on lunch times and stuff, and smoke 1 or 2 joints at lunchtime. And sometimes I would smoke it before I even got caught. Luckily, the head teacher didn't realize it was weed, because it was literally finishing. But yeah, the head teacher of the school caught me and some friends smoking. She thought it was a cigarette, so she just put us in timeout for a day. But yeah, it was a joint. I even spoke to my mate recently about that, and he thought it was a cigarette, but I was like, no, it was a joint, and it was finished, which is why we didn't get caught for smoking cannabis. But yeah, I would go out on lunch breaks to smoke, kind of fairly often, actually. Looking back now, I can't remember how often I did it, but I did do it quite often at the age of 16. So that was my last year of school. Yeah, so that was kind of me starting cannabis. Now, I did take a year off from between the age, after finishing school. I did an IT apprenticeship and I didn't smoke cannabis a lot. By the time I quit school and started that apprenticeship, didn't really smoke weed until near the end of the apprenticeship, because I realized that some people that were doing the apprenticeship also smoked weed. And they were like, oh Nathan, do you smoke weed? I'm like, I kind of used to. And then I started smoking again. Quite, not regularly, but a little bit often. And yeah, I just started smoking again. And then I started transitioning out of actually smoking on my own after that. Again, I've taken a little bit of breaks now and again because at the time I wasn't working, I wasn't earning money to be able to supply myself with it. But I was still now and again smoking weed between the ages of like 17, 18. And then I think that was when I took my break after I finished the apprenticeship before I went to college. Is when I kind of stopped smoking a lot of weed as much. I'm just gonna put my hood up because it's kind of chilly today and my head's getting cold. So, by that time, my first year in college, I was doing like a game development course. I didn't really smoke weed then. It kind of was a little bit, but on and off. So I still used it now and again. But in my next year of college, I did, and the second year after that, I did start smoking it way more often because there was people in my class that were smoking it. And yeah, I was the stoner guy in college, in my college class. In the second year of college, I was smoking a lot. I pretty much didn't hand in like a term's worth of work because I was smoking so much weed. Literally, I would go into some of the classes stoned. One of my teachers would like, she knew I was getting high. Like she knew. I forgot, Michelle something. Forgot her last name. But she would like smile at me, like knowing that I'm really baked. It was kind of funny. And yeah, some other people in college were also smoking weed, and they were like, "Oh, Nathan, I've got a zoo. You want to come roll it?" Because I can roll very well. And I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's go. So yeah, often I was smoking college like a lot. And then in those first and second years, so that after I did game development, I did acting. 2 years of acting. And then I would start to smoke weed after college with some people from my estate, which is where I live. One person and his group of friends as well. That was when it was starting to get quite often. It would be like nearly every day or nearly every other day where I would like chip in like a $5 again, or like a $10 for weed, and they would smoke up, and then probably the next day or two would do the same thing, and it would just keep going on like that. And that led me to going to university, where I attempted to quit weed. Okay, so I actually went to university with the intention of like, I'm gonna stop smoking weed. But within like 4 days of saying that and getting to university, me and my dorm mates, which was 3 girls and 1 guy, 1 girl left, but the 2 girls I was with, the other guy didn't move in yet. We went to some park. We were just like exploring the area, and I shit you not, on the way back we find a bag of weed on the floor. We just find a bag of weed on the floor, and then one of the girls was like, "Nathan, should we smoke some weed?" And I was like, "Fuck it, go for it." And then the other girl joined in as well, so we started smoking that, and then that got me smoking weed a lot more. Like pretty much every day I would smoke weed. Every day since then. Pretty much every day since like I started smoking weed at university until kind of a month ago, I had been smoking weed. So the last, except for when I went to Philippines on holiday, and a couple of months ago where I did attempt to quit weed again, I had like a few days off. I might have had like a month off in between that time frame, but essentially from the age of like 20 to 25, 26, I have been smoking weed pretty much nearly every day. But this is where it gets interesting, because if I didn't start smoking weed again there, I wouldn't have interacted with certain people that would have led me down the path that I'm on now. So that's going to be two people. One of them is named Gurnick. He lives in Canada, and the other is MJ. He's kind of a spiritual guy that was diving into some similar stuff that I had been like diving into. So from the age of like 17, I have been like researching funky topics like ancient Egypt, David Icke, Zeitgeist, all the banking systems, all of that stuff at the age of 17 onwards. People in college were like, "Oh, Nathan, why are you into all this weird funky shit?" I'm like, "Oh, because it's interesting." But yeah, I met these two guys, and like at one point we were like, it was just us three in like the room smoking up, and he was like, "All this shit you're diving into is real. It's all real." And the both of them were like meditating and practicing like spirituality at the time. I think they've taken DMT as well, so they've had like, and mushrooms and shit like that. So they've had like, at the time they had more kind of spiritual experience than me, and they were like, "Yo, all this shit that you're diving into is real. Keep diving, okay?" But they were like, "Warning, it's a rabbit hole. There's no coming back, okay?" And one of them probably gave me the best advice I've ever had, to be honest. It was, watch your ego. Very early on, I was told to watch my ego. I partially didn't take that advice in my second year of university, and that kind of made me not spiral out of control, but I could see myself becoming very, very very egotistical. I was like semi-spiritual and like a university wanting to do stupid shit and like drink, party all the time. It was weird because like I was conscious, like meditating, practicing spirituality, but then I was also like working as a PT, so I was physically fit as well. So it made me very strange in nightlife. Let's just keep it at that. Like, yeah, I'm not going to talk anymore on that. But yeah, met those two guys, and they kind of helped me lead me down the path that I'm on now, really. At the same time of meeting those two, I was watching Ralph Smart on YouTube. He was like, 7-day vegan challenge, 7-day vegan challenge, 7-day vegan challenge. I think that's why I'm vegan, to be honest, because I was watching a lot of him and his neuro-linguistic program, and he doesn't tell people what he's doing, but he is programming people by repeating things. He kept saying 7-day vegan challenge. At the time, I was on something called a paleo diet, which was eat as much meat as you can, basically. And near the end of it, I stopped eating. It started tasting weird. Meat started tasting weird for me. Like, I'm a very good cook. I know how to cook. And meat just started tasting weird. So when I moved into my house, I kind of was like, oh, I've got no food here. I'm going to try this vegan stuff, plant-based diet. And I haven't really looked back since, to be honest with you. And I do, like, now I see all animals as, like, they've got a soul. Like, they're literally friends. I just want to be friends with all animals. I just look at them, I'm like, I say hello to, like, ducks and swans and stuff when they're nearby. There's none really over here today. There's a lot of seagulls. I'm always literally, like, even squirrels. When I see a squirrel, I'm like, hello, squirrel. Even birds, I'm like, hello, bird. I'm very weird like that, but, like, yeah, I'll even, like, make bird noises at birds when I bike past them. Squirrels, I say hello to squirrels all the time. I didn't see a rat earlier, which is a very good sign for money, apparently. Which is coinciding with some stuff that I'm doing on my Etsy store. But, yeah, I see all animals, they've got a soul. They're all friends to me, essentially. Like, even, like, dogs, cats, I just, like, look at them. I see something else inside of them. I don't know if anyone feels like that, but I see something else inside of them, which is why I don't personally want to get someone else. Well, you're not even killing them anyway. I don't want to get someone else to do the dirty work for me. I'm not going to talk about. There are some things of animal sacrifice that many people don't really know about, but that's kind of putting down an animal. I'm not going to talk about that anymore because it's a very complicated subject and for another video. But yeah, I see all animals as friends. I haven't looked back from going vegan, to be honest. But one thing that Ralph Smart does kind of lie about is that going vegan doesn't open your third eye. It doesn't make you psychic. You need to train those methods. It does increase your energy, and it does make your aura dense and make you somewhat more powerful than those that eat meat in an unethical and way that they don't bless it. There are ways of eating meat that can kind of counteract the negative effects of it. Again, I'm not talking about that today. But let's go back to when I was at university with weed. So yeah, nearly every day we'd smoke weed. Even when I moved into my second house, nearly every day we'd smoke weed. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There was at least 6 weed smokers I was living with. So nearly every day I'd smoke weed. Okay? We'd all put in money to just get some weed, essentially. But then my dad died in 2015, I think. That didn't make me quit, by the way, but that made me move out of university and quit university. It didn't really make me do that, looking back now. I just didn't see myself continuing with university, to be honest with you. At the moment in the UK, it's a big fucking waste of money. You're paying $9,000 a year to... I was paying $9,000 a year to go in 3 days a week for not even a full day. It was like 4 hours some days, 3 hours some days, and like 5 hours another day. That's what? 12 hours. 12 hours a week, $9,000 a year. The fuck? My sister, like 4 years ago, was paying $3,000 a year for university, and it tripled in price by the time I went. But yeah, after that, I went back home, ended up not paying the rent for the house. Technically, I could have actually just not paid that, because in all legalities, I didn't need to, because it was all signed by 9 other people, and plus the housing association, like on recorded phone call, said that they would help me find someone to replace. They didn't do that, and I could have literally left it on 9 other people, but then I got myself in debt by paying it off because I wasn't going to be a dick. Even though I was really tempted to, because one girl was a fucking cunt about it. I was very tempted to because of her and the way they spoke to me. I was very, very freaking tempted to. But I didn't. I didn't because of one guy that messaged me. He was like, dude, pay this off, mate. Like, he didn't say shit in a negative way. I was like, you know what, I'll do this. Yeah, I was very close to not paying it because legally I did not need to. It's signed by none other people. It's also on them to find and replace. If they didn't do it, I don't have to fucking pay shit. But I did. I paid like $3,500. Got myself in debt. Paid that off. So over the last like 4 or 5 years, I've basically been paying. No, that debt was paid off within a year, actually. But after leaving university, I went on holiday to Philippines by myself. I didn't smoke weed the whole time. So you could say that was a little break I had, but like as soon as I got back from the holiday, literally as I got back from the holiday, I'm walking up to my house. My neighbour sticks his head out the window. Like, yo, Nathan, you want a zoo? I'm just like, yeah, I do. So then I started, like, from then, it was like every day. Like every day, I would even do stupid shit like fucking selling shit just to get weed. Like, this is how bad weed can get for you, because you can make it feel like you need it when you don't. Like, you really don't need cannabis to do anything. You don't need it to sleep. I'll speak about sleeping in a little bit when I talk about these last 30 days. But you don't need it to sleep. You don't need it to fucking relax. You don't need it. You don't need any form of substances to help you with anything. You don't. Okay? You even have an endocannabinoid system in your body, which I'm not dived too deep into yet, but you can check out Wim Hof. He's got some information on that. But yeah, literally since I came back from my holiday, I've been smoking weed basically every day. And I've had to do it in like really poor conditions because I wasn't able to kind of smoke in my house. In the last like year and a half, I've been allowed to smoke on my balcony. But before then, I've had to smoke outside all the time. All the time. When it's pissing down, I would go outside and I'd hold it like freaking in here and just like, I would be chuffing a like 0.4 spliff in like 5 to 10 minutes because I'm outside in the rain, like just because of, I don't know, conditions and like how I'm thinking that I need to smoke it. I've been using it in a very poor way, to be honest with you. Now, when I was in university smoking it, I was using it much differently. I was getting on with work. I was smoking in the house. I was more productive with it. So even if I do go back to it, it would be a situation where I'm smoking it inside and having to like be freezing outside in the fucking winter, or when it's raining, like chuffing it down just so I can get high. But yeah, when I was at uni smoking it, I was smoking it inside. I was getting on with work. I was doing everything. I was working in the gym. I was working out. I was getting shit done all the time. So environmental conditions with what you're using it does have a significant effect. Especially the people around you as well. Like people that I live with don't really like it, so they put negative energy onto me using it. And like I have to go past my mum to go outside to the balcony to go smoke it, and she would just make random little comments, like stupid little comments. I'm not going to talk about it, but she would make random little comments. But there are significant influences on the environmental conditions and the uses of substances, because obviously if you're inside doing it and you're comfortable and you're not having to rush it, you can put it down halfway and not like smoke it all at once in like 5 minutes. And that's a lot different than having to smoke it all at once in like 5 minutes. Like even at one point I bought a bit off one of my mates before, and it was pissing down outside. So it was like, dude, you want to put this all in one? And he was like, sure. So yeah, we just smoked like a whole gram in one, and then I went home, went to bed, pretty much. That was a few years ago. But yeah, looking back, environmental conditions does definitely affect how you use it and how it affects you. But yeah, over the last years, I've been constantly smoking nearly every day outside in poor environmental conditions. Okay? Now, I think that's what has made me like I've been wanting to quit for ages. Like I've been saying to myself, last one for like the last couple of years, in all honesty. I don't think it helped that my neighbor kept asking me, like, he kept offering me, he's like, oh, yo, you want to zoot for some backy? You want to zoot for some backy? Oh, I'll give you this for cheap, shit like that. I don't think that helped with my old neighbor living there. But yeah, I think that's kind of it for how I've been using it, to be honest with you. Again, that's kind of been the same for a while, me having to use it in poor conditions for like the last 4 or 5 years. Again, it's a lot different if you're smoking it inside and you're not having to rush it. You're able to relax with it. Like cannabis makes you relaxed. You don't want to be outside wondering if someone's gonna fucking try rush you because they think you're someone else. I've had that shit happen before. Like I'm there smoking a joint outside and there's like 4 dudes like fucking run up to me and they're like, yo, and they're thinking it's someone else, and I'm just like, what the fuck do you guys want? I'm like that. I don't give a fuck who you are. I will, yeah, I'm not gonna say. I don't care how many people there are. I'm pretty crazy. But yeah, I've had some weird situations. So environmental conditions do affect. Okay, let's just put that one out there. Now let's talk about quitting. Like how it's been quitting. So the last 30 days, like the last week, the first two weeks of quitting, I had some really, really shit sleep. Like really shit sleep, some funky dreams. Like dreams of people that like I don't really speak to from like my old school, of them with like random castles and me throwing. Yeah, I've had some funky dreams of like me throwing people off castles. Some weird ass dreams, dude. Like some weird ass dreams have happened. I've had one nightmare, you could say. I think that nightmare was influenced through a black scrying mirror usage. It was the night that I used a black scrying mirror. That was the only time I've had like a nightmare like that. And that nightmare, I like got stabbed up a lot, like multiple times in the face. I should have basically been dead. And I woke up feeling like I'd been stabbed. Like I woke up with pain in my stomach. And I was like, what the fuck is that? Was that? But I think that was because I used a black scrying mirror the night before. Haven't had a nightmare like that since, to be honest with you. It's all been just kind of strange dreams, like random dreams, like really random dreams. But over the last 2 weeks, I've been sleeping a lot better. I haven't needed cannabis to sleep. I have made that excuse before that I've needed cannabis to sleep. I do still have shitty sleep, but I don't need cannabis to sleep. It's just been very on and off sleep, kind of similar to, not similar, when I was smoking cannabis I would like smoke quite a bit before bed just to kind of KO myself, just to get some form of sleep. But yeah, lately sleep's been not too bad. Sometimes, depending what I do before I sleep, I'll sleep better. Like if I, now and again, let's say now and again, I've done it like once or twice, I would do like, I do it every now and again, I do 100 press-ups. Sometimes I've done it before bed once and that helped me sleep. But yeah, getting physical, drain your energy before bed. I don't recommend draining your energy through like masturbation. But drain your physical energy before bed. That helps you sleep. You need to be tired to sleep. Otherwise, if you're not tired and you feel like you can do shit, you're not going to be able to sleep. Because your body's like, I can go for a run right now, and you're trying to sleep. But yeah, it's been a pretty decent experience of quitting cannabis. I don't know if I'm making this video too early, but I thought I'd make it because it's... I've been smoking weed for the last month, and I've been a user for like 10 plus years. So I'm 26, I started when I was 14. Again, you could take 2 years out. That's like 11 years of pretty much near constant use. Not near constant use, but yeah, you could say like 5 to 6 years of constant use. But it has been a pretty funky experience of quitting because it's made me look at it in a different way. Again, I do still feel like if I lived in my own place, I may use it like every now and again because I would be using it differently. I was very productive at university while using it. But now that I live back at home with a poor environment, having to use it outside in the cold, like literally when it's snowing, when it's pissing down with rain, I'd be outside using it because I can't smoke it inside. It's not that I could have probably blocked the doorway and stuff like that, but then even if, as soon as I open a doorway, someone would know that I've been using it inside. But yeah, it's been a pretty funky experience with not smoking for the last 30 days. Sleep is pretty shit once you quit. You're gonna wake up feeling like you're in a bath all the time for like at least the first 2 weeks. It's gonna be like you wake up in the middle of the night like you just had a shower, like sweating buckets. But the last week/2 weeks, it's not been like that. I have been using saunas and steam rooms, so I think that has had an influence on me detoxing my system of it. But yeah, it's pretty decent to kind of, like, I'm pretty much fully sober now. Like, I haven't drank alcohol in, it's 2021, so 6 years, 5 years, and 30 days of not smoking cannabis, so I'm pretty much kind of fully sober. Yeah, we'll see what it's like in the next following months. I have been tempted to try CBD cannabis. There is a place in the UK that you can get it for really cheap, actually. Because I do feel like sometimes I need to kind of mellow down and wind down, and CBD is also a pain reliever. I've been using the gym a lot, and I do kind of ache quite a bit. And apparently, according to my mate, you don't feel addicted to it. Like, it's like you can use it like once a week and just be like, oh, it's relaxing, it's nice, it tastes nice and shit like that. But yeah, that is kind of my experience with cannabis, my cannabis timeline, and how it's been like quitting. But yeah, there is a very significant influence to the environmental factors of where you're using it. Is cannabis bad? No, there are certain situations where I literally got led to smoke it. There are certain situations where I've been led to stop it. So cannabis isn't bad in itself. It has benefits for people. But there are times where you may need to quit. You need to look at how you're using it, what it's doing for you, etc., etc., to determine whether it's a good thing or a bad thing for you at the time. At the time, for me, I don't need it. And it's causing, my neighbour's a snake, basically. She called the police on me, even though I didn't really care. She called the police on me and I kept smoking it outside. Probably shouldn't say that, but now that I don't smoke it, I don't care. But yeah, I think that is it for the video today. Off the top of my head, I can't really think of anything more to talk about it. Yeah, that is it. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you next time. Peace out.